What's up, lads? And ladies, of course. And everyone else who maybe is gender nonconforming. Oh, wait, hold on. I want to make sure I get chat up here on screen. Now we're talking. There we go. Kind of hard to see. Hold on, I got to change the visual settings. Here we go. Okay, that should reset it. You know, I wish I'd do this crap before I go live. There we go. Now we can see the chat. That looks cool, huh? Excuse-moi. There we go. That looks pretty cool up there. What's up, everybody? How you doing? It is me, Hunter. I'm excited to start streaming. Twitch gang, what's up? It's our favorite gay-looking straight boy. What's up, Hunter? God is cheese? About as believable as what Christians believe. No, I'm just kidding. But speaking of which, we are going to look at this video here. Christian conservatives battle pro-LGBT Republicans. Now, Blaire White is in this video, and so is Carlson. Now, you all remember Carlson Berensko? I know I asked her how to say her last name, but I just don't remember. She's been on my channel a couple times. Me and Carlson don't really agree on much, but I like Carlson. She's very good faith, and we've had multiple good faith discussions on this channel before with her. So, recently, Carlson, Blaire White, and John Doyle, and this blonde weirdo, I'm going to be honest, I don't know who this woman is. I've never seen her before. Let's see. Blaire White. Okay, here's Carlson. Lauren, this must be her. Lauren, why is every blonde alt-right chick named Lauren? What the fuck? Sorry, you know, that doobie hits hard. Okay, hold on. She doesn't even have a YouTube? All right, let's go to her website just really quick, because this girl is, like, crazy. And I really just wanted to go over some of this debate and just look at it. This, I guess she only has an Instagram. It's kind of lame. She's a spokeswoman for Hold the Line PAC, former candidate for U.S. Senate, Delaware. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, she's, like, insane in this. And don't worry, we're going to fact check a lot of what the crap she says here, too. We're not going to watch this whole thing. It's battling LGBT issues, so this is one of my, like, favorite topics to talk about. So I'm just going to start it kind of over by the 16-minute mark, and we're just going to go through this a little bit. I thought it would be fun. So, yeah, this is on the channel, slightly offensive. And, yeah, let's go.
What is this conservative party conserving, and how is it any different than, let's just say, being a liberal party from 10 years ago?
Well, right now, it's not conserving anything because they don't have any power because they lost elections. But I do want to speak to John's point specifically in that he used the magic word, which is pandering. The left panders to the LGBT movement. Trump did advocate for LGBT policies. He did so by appointing the first openly gay member of the cabinet, which the left likes to forget about all the time. He did support this community. He just didn't do it in a way that was pandering. But again, like I'm a liberal because I believe
that's also not true. The Trump administration did go to measures to actually harm LGBT people as far as like adoption and things as well. So, I mean, maybe, okay, but yeah, I can agree with that. You can tell that I haven't streamed in a while because I like trip over my words and shit. But as far as like, yeah, of course, liberals pander to the LGBT community, but Trump pandered to the LGBT community in his own way as well. Let's be real.
Believe in individual liberty, individual freedom. I'm very concerned with preserving specifically our First Amendment values and all of the amendments specifically, but the First Amendment's really my jam, which again does not allow for the state to legislate based on one religion's specific values. But if we want to talk about religion, we can talk about a verse from the Bible, which is 1 Timothy 2, verses 1 through 2, which says, I urge then, first of all, the petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for all people, for kings and for those in authority, that we may live peaceful and
Get 'em,
quiet
Carlin,
lives
get
in
'em.
all godliness and holiness. And I bring that up because that is the only place in the New Testament that really touches on the relationship of Christians to government. And what does it say? It says they should pray for the people in leadership so that they may live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness and holiness. So what does that mean? It means that we should be working on electing a government that allows people to practice whatever religion they want and to live peaceful and quiet lives in godliness.
About gay people
I just thought that
being
was kind of funny. But no, I don't think that, like,
good job, Carlin. I commend thee.
even you push back on what I had said about the pandering with, well, Trump appointed these people and he appointed these people. So he was actually, like, you know, serving the interests of the community. It's interesting because, as you noted, the left will still ignore that because they control the narratives and they control the media. And so really, no matter what Trump does to pander to that, however many percent of the, 3% of the voting demographic isn't actually going to serve interests. And I just don't think that the reason Trump didn't win in 2020, assuming the election was totally legitimate, was because he didn't serve the interests of the LGBT community enough. I mean, Trump won in 2016 because of immigration, because of free trade, and because of foreign policy. It wasn't at all because of social issues as it pertains to, like, you know, the interests of gays and transgenders or what have you. And then as far as the biblical substantiation for it, I mean, it's outlined obviously, and not only in the Old Testament, but in the New Testament, like, very clearly, that sexual immorality, which under the umbrella would be homosexuality, is wrong. But you seem to be alluding to this.
No. We've been over all this verse before. I guess, is he talking about? Hold on. I should have had my little notes up ahead of time, huh? Nope. I know exactly what he's talking about. Hold on. Let's see here. Where's that damn article? Ugh. Hold on. You know what? Let's look at super chats really quickly. Nicole Lee, thank you for the MX14. Appreciate it. Maple Syrup 64, thank you for the $5. Hey, Hunter, longtime fan here. Just wanted to tell you that you're kind of pog, not gonna lie. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And you are pog also. But yeah, what he's talking about here, this verse, he's referring to the Romans verse where they say that homosexuals won't inherit the kingdom of God. Homosexuality literally didn't exist in biblical times. Like, the understanding and the concept of, like, our understanding of homosexual relationships just didn't exist the way that I've been getting a little bit of asthma over here. Yo, if people are asking on Twitch how, if you guys want to help donate or anything at all, my PayPal link is in the description, and that's always a way to help. And you can attach a message too, so I can read your donation. All right, guys, hold on one second. I'm gonna go get more water, and then we're gonna actually, like, get into this and get serious. All right. All right, we're back. I got my water. I see everybody in the chat making fun of me. I see you all making fun of my, I don't know, what is it, a Maryland accent? Oops, hold on.
In a free society to do what they want and not, causing any problems. But what's interesting about that is that was the argument that during the movements in the 1960s and 70s, including the sexual revolution, that allowed a lot of the stuff to have a seat at the table, which ultimately would usurp power away from traditional Americans and traditional social conservatives. And I just think that that's basically a myth, because there's really no such thing as a private individual in the privacy of their own home, because you are one person. And so any actions that you take in your house are ultimately going to reflect you and how you conduct yourself in the real world. Infiltrate education.
Does anybody know if there's like highlights I can get of this?
Conversation between you and your church elders. This is a conversation about a political movement.
I think that all the arguments against the acceptance of homosexuality within the right are completely secular. It may just so happen to appeal to the base of that movement as Christians, but I think that Lauren and I could recite several arguments that are maybe even more compelling from a completely secular perspective.
Let me.
And I hope you'll do it in church.
Let me jump in.
And I think it's really funny that she's quoting scripture as a liberal, thinking that she can use it against us as Christians. It's like, oh, it doesn't apply to me, but maybe it'll work on you. And guess what? It doesn't work. Playing on our Christian compassion and making us be tolerant and acceptive of all this diversity. You know what that's left us with? Transgender pedophiles on Twitter saying that your daughter asked for it. Your little girl isn't actually a princess. She asked for it.
What? What is she? I don't even know what she's talking about to debunk. Transgender pedophiles. Wow.
Your daughter asked for it. Your little girl isn't actually a princess. She asked for it when I abuse her. That is where we're at. So you're throwing scripture at me as a liberal is not going to work. You cannot.
So someone random said something gross on Twitter? Okay.
Play the Christian compassion card on us anymore. We are taking a stand for social conservatism because it matters. Social issues matter.
No
and
one's saying they don't.
Using God's word and manipulating it to try to get Christians to agree with you is.
See, here's what's funny is this is what these people do, right? Is their bigoted beliefs that they use, they have these bigoted beliefs. Like, listen to this girl. She thinks trans people are pedophiles, all this shit. She also then has her religion aspect to it as well. Really, the root thing is she doesn't like trans people. So within her mind, the truth is when the Bible says gay people bad. And if you ever use the Bible to argue something that says, wait a minute, like a pro-gay position, right? Well, that's just twisting the word of God and the truth.
Absolutely subversive. And that's what we're struggling with in our party is subverters. How many kids saw Blaire White, giving one of her videos? I know Trump is a cash cow. I know people love to talk about him to get their popularity, but how many children saw her and looked at her and said, you know what, she looks really good. I could do that too, and started transitioning. This is about the children.
This cannot be real. These arguments. First of all, I kind of want to see what Blaire's going to say on it.
They are coming for our kids, and we are at a point now where we're going to have to take a stand. Will the party go the way of the LGBTQ? Will the party, we already have a transgender man, woman, I don't know, in California running the Federation for Republican Women. Are we going to let this stand, or are we going to choose to stay with the nuclear family and support the nuclear?
Hold on. Listen to what she's saying. She's making it sound like it's this either or. Why is it, are you going to support trans people or the nuclear family? You know what I support? The nuclear family and trans people. And I support, when I say the nuclear family, I mean two parents married raising children. The nuclear family could be a gay family as well. And that's what I would say to this girl too. I'd say, yeah, I support the nuclear family. If we're talking about just two loving adults raising, married, raising a child, I'm all for a nuclear family. Straight couple, gay couple, doesn't matter to me. So how many kids saw Blaire White and then just decided to start transitioning? Because, you know, that's how it is with being trans nowadays, guys. This is how delusional these dumb fucks are. This is how delusional people like this think that like, this is how she thinks the trans issue is. Oh, a little boy just sat down and saw Blaire White and is like, hey, Blaire White is pretty. Now I want to take my penis off. Like, what, does she even hear herself and what she's saying? Oh my God. And I'm interested to see what Blaire's gonna say, because like these are the type of people that like she tries to appeal to.
Because from what I've seen from these LGBTQ activists, such as Richard Grinnell, who's an absolute pervert, he refuses to stand up for transgenders in the military, against transgenders in the military. He refuses to stand and make a public statement that, hey, men shouldn't be in women's bathrooms. That's because they're bought, sold, and paid for by these LGBT donors.
So notice everything she's saying so far is just intuition, anecdotes, and literally no factual evidence. A man in a woman's bathroom, this sounds like me in 2016. I've gone over the studies multiple times. There have been in-depth studies on this matter. Gender-neutral bathrooms don't risk anyone. And transgender individuals are far more likely to be abused rather than be the perpetrators of abuse. So, I mean, this is literally, that's just a fact. That's based on, like, statistics. But she's scared of this, but that's because she doesn't actually have arguments, because she doesn't need arguments. She doesn't like trans people. They're gross pedophile perverts in her tiny little pea brain, and so that's all that matters. Everything else she says is dumb and irrational, but again, it's like, that's secondary.
Who have seen an opportunity. Trump was a cash cow. He was. If you talk about him and if you are... had a different look or whatever, people would throw themselves at you because it's like, oh, look how inclusive we are, but we're sacrificing everything. And when it comes down to it, I choose preserving the life of little children who are 15% of them are growing up identifying as LGBTQ and transgender. And we should not be giving a spotlight.
Hold on. Are we talking about the statistics with trans people, like the recent surveys that came out that showed there was like an uptick of people identifying as LGBT? Because that's the most obvious basic thing in the world. As it becomes more socially acceptable, you're going to see more of it. That's how it's always been. I pointed to the example of interracial marriage last time in one of my recent videos. Interracial marriage, once it was legalized and then more socially acceptable, you saw it just skyrocket. More and more people started doing it. So, God forbid, or I'm sorry, chatter, I saw you. Cheese forbid, some people now feel safer and included enough to be themselves in this world. Like, I don't know how she can complain about this, but okay.
By these LGBT donors who have seen an opportunity, and we should not be giving a spotlight to or a platform to people who operate in a lifestyle where 40% of them end up attempting suicide, eventually.
What? Listen to this. This is your brain on transphobia. So because a group of people disproportionately commit suicide, we shouldn't platform them? Are you stupid, you dumb fuck bimbo? Okay, well then I guess we shouldn't be platforming veterans because, they have a higher suicide rate. You know what? Fuck it. Can we get Elijah here and John Doyle off because white males disproportionately commit suicide? Clearly, we shouldn't be platforming or putting the spotlight on anyone with a disproportionate suicide rate. What does that mean? The suicide rate exists and is disproportionate because of people like you peddling lies like these, not the other way around. I don't Yeah, you could make the exact same argument with white males. They have a disproportionate suicide rate. So, okay, don't platform people with a higher suicide rate. Got it.
1 in 4 children growing up struggling with LGBTQ gender dysphoria end up with depression, drug abuse. I think it's 80% of men have a higher risk of
Listen to this fucking virtue signaling. Oh, they have a higher likelihood of being depressed and drug abuse. Why do you think that is? Why? Do you think it's just because they're transgender? That's how stupid these essentialist takes are. Do you really think that's why? Or do you think it's because trans people are treated poorly by society? A lot of the time. It is getting better. But society's treatment of trans people does contribute to their depression, suicide rate, and also drug abuse. Like, that comes in with a lot of other issues too. Like, there's the poverty aspect, which oftentimes pushes people into environments where they have to go into prostitution or something, which oftentimes is also, like, you know, the environments where drugs are bound to be around, I guess. You know what I'm kind of getting at. I know that wasn't explained that well, but so far she hasn't made a single reasonable, coherent argument as to why we shouldn't be spotlighting transgender people. In fact, she's actually made a point against hers, because I would say if someone has a disproportionate suicide rate, maybe we should be hearing them out. What the fuck is going on? That's what I would want to know.
Or children growing up struggling with LGBTQI gender dysphoria end up with depression, drug abuse. I think it's 80% of men have a higher risk of HIV. You know, why would I support that lifestyle? Why would I even make excuses for that lifestyle or try to use?
I want to give Blaire a chance to respond to your statements real fast, because I know Blaire has a hard out. We haven't heard from Blaire. Just on the statement of Lauren said, Lauren is talking about, you know, the subversion in the party, the idea that your choice, transitioning.
Before I
just
want to specifically address what Lauren said about children maybe watching my YouTube videos and thinking that they can be like me or transition or whatever. I don't really know how much you know about me, but I'm probably the most vocal anti-children transitioning person on the internet. It's what I'm.
Right.
I let you speak.
The best thing you can do for us is grow out your mustache and tell people not to live like you. That is the best thing that you can do to help us, because you are not helping.
Christ love, wafting off Lauren. Christ love.
Go at it, guys.
I think actually to close on the biblical point, the first thing I did want to say is the vindication of Lauren's point comes very clearly in the fact that we have a liberal on here.
Poor Blaire White. She's literally just getting steamrolled in this conversation. And this bitch, oh my God. Am I really up here feeling sorry for Blaire White right now? No. Hunter, don't give in to your femoid-like feelings. Oh God. Can we go back?
The subversion in
the best thing
that you can do to help us, because you are not helping.
Now listen to this right now. Trans people have existed forever, and they're going to continue to exist. Like long into the future, long after this woman is dead and buried in her grave. So that's just a fact of the matter. So the idea that the best thing Blaire White could do is jump up on your YouTube channel and say, don't live like me, don't be like me, doesn't make sense. Telling people to just stop being transgender or just don't be trans, like, that isn't how it works. Can you just tell somebody to stop having depression? Can you just tell somebody to stop identifying a certain way? No, you can't. And the fact that, like, she thinks that Blaire White could just get up there and say, don't live like me, and that would somehow do anything beneficial, it wouldn't. It's just it's all irrational. And again, it's rooted in her bigotry. Like, she doesn't care about making a real and coherent argument here.
Not to live like you. That is the best thing that you can do to help us, because you are not helping.
Christ love, wafting off Lauren. Christ love.
Go at it, guys.
I think actually to close on the biblical point, the first thing I did want to say is the vindication of Lauren's point comes very clearly in the fact that we have a liberal on here who is personally a liberal and ideologically a liberal, though feels as though she can manifest that by voting for Republicans. And so I think that really speaks to how far our party has deviated in the last 50 years to where now there are people who are personally liberal who feel as though their views can be reflected by voting for Republicans. And to close on the biblical topic,
So basically John Doyle's argument is the Republican Party is just, it's getting a little bit too not bigoted.
This misconception that like Jesus just said that we should be like vaguely nice to each other. As far as judgment goes, we are called as Christians not to judge people individually. Like we cannot look at you and make a moral declaration like you are good or you are bad. That's not our position. However, we are called quite explicitly to judge the actions of people so as to maintain a moral and civilized society. And so we need to keep that social pressure on people like you actually can't behave in this way or that way. And that's how we maintain a civilized.
Notice she hasn't actually, like, they've not made an argument yet as to why anything is wrong with accepting LGBT people. Like, do you think that maybe the fact that more and more people are slowly but surely getting there, well, obviously with gay marriage, people are more so, but trans people still have a little ways to go. But it's just, like, do you
to judge the
do you think that maybe the world has just moved on maybe without you?
Actions of people so as to maintain a moral and civilized society. And so we need to keep that social pressure on people like you actually can't behave in this way or that way. And that's how we maintain a civilized and virtuous society. And we are called throughout the Bible to do that quite explicitly.
Okay, Blaire, can you please respond?
All right,
to all
I
of
never
that? 'Cause this is
finished my
crazy.
point, so I would just like to say, as I said earlier, whether anyone on this panel likes it or wants to acknowledge it, there is a really huge chunk of LGBT people who are very much against ideas like children transitioning, like trans women in biological women's sports, and all of the ideas that are, you know, hot talking points, but they're very real at the same time. So I don't think many kids would look at my YouTube videos and want to do anything like me, because I explicitly have been very known for saying that it's not a glamorous lifestyle, that it's difficult, and that children shouldn't be allowed to transition because it can often be a mistake that really damages their life. So I don't know, I just felt like that was a false premise. And again, I would like to agree with Carlson on this.
It wasn't a false premise. Like I said, if you want to help us, tell people not to live like you.
That people would watch my videos and come to that.
She sounds like she's holding Blaire White hostage. Look at that. Look at the, just, can we go back really quick? Look at the anger in her face when she says that. God, she looks like she's about to pop a blood vessel.
People not to live like you.
That people would watch my videos and
I feel like she's got a fucking gun to my head.
Not to, and I advocate against it. I think that there are a lot of trans people online that you could argue. Maybe someone looks at their videos, children, and wants to do a certain thing, but I'm very much against it. If anything, people who support children transitioning or kids who want to transition hate me. So I also would like to say,
yeah, credit where credit's due. I don't like Blaire White, but I do think like her response is fairly reasonable. But I personally think that Blaire White should be a lot harsher on this person.
That's not
I do agree with Carlson in the sense that, you know, if you guys do want to wield power and enact the socially conservative changes that you want, you do have to win elections, and telling people that they don't have a place to vote in your direction or that they don't have a place in your party isn't the way to win elections. So I guess if the topic is the future of the right, I think the future of the right's already settled. It's Trump, and that's not an ideology that tells people they're not allowed to come over. If anything, it's an ideology that welcomes people to come over. So
okay,
it's
so
kind of already over, actually.
Before we jump any further, I want to let you guys know something. It's very important. As you can see, a lot of people in this country disagree right now. We cannot seem to come to common ground on a lot of things, which is why people see the instability.
Are we really
of the
getting
stock.
an ad here? Hold on now.
Look at where those people poll on, nor was there a statistic improved. We don't have time to waste resources on anything that hasn't been proven to be effective.
Carlson?
Blaire,
Blaire, poor Blaire.
Clear
Just
that if we
even when I
want
skip
to
in.
keep Trumpism going, if we want to keep the Trump train going, then the way to do that isn't by appealing to these issues. It's by appealing to the issues that got him into power in the first place. And then when we take the country back, then, you know, we can have these other debates.
The media completely controls the narratives. It doesn't matter. He could save, like, I don't know, a little person of color who's also trans out of a burning building, and the media would not care. But that's all the more reason to, I don't think you have to pander. I think you just don't have to try to exclude people. I think that that just loses votes. And so, again, it just goes back to, you guys can't wield any of this power you say you want to wield if you're not going to win elections. You're just not. And I don't know. I just think it's just kind of silly to go on about this argument that certain people need to be excluded, because all it's doing is telling people not to vote for you.
I
And
actually agree with Blaire,
if it keeps going back to like, we need to win,
Whoa.
saying you can't vote for us or you don't have a place in the party isn't.
He's look at him. He's like suddenly contemplating his own sexuality.
I don't see
Just
the winning
kidding.
tactic of that. I mean, I don't think that the social conservative movement is going to necessarily grow stronger to the point where you wouldn't need. And also what you said about LGBT votes not having a statistical raise, I believe they did double. Obviously, it's still a small community, but it did double from 2016. So clearly there is a shift happening. I think it was 14% in 2016 and probably like 1% every other election before that. And it was like 28% in 2020. So yeah, you know, minority groups don't necessarily win elections now. Over time, they very well could.
Can I just let me move to Lauren?
900,000 votes. Yeah. 900,000 people nationally came out from the LGBTQ community and voted for President Trump. We've done the math. It was absolutely not beneficial for all the money we spent when we could have been going after the working class, the white working class, the Christian working class.
900. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Trump. Where is she getting 900,000? Where is she getting like this specific number? 81% of LGBTQ voters went for President-elect Biden. I mean, what's this based on, though? Opinion research poll? That doesn't sound very good. I'm not seeing anything about 900,000. Is she just, like, making things up? Probably. Is this... No, there's not. Yeah, there's nothing here. Okay, maybe that means she did her own math because they said we did the math. Maybe that's what that means.
I do agree.
Religiously, we spent way too many resources. So the lie that we have to be a big tent in order to win, and we have to be inclusive. You know, like I said, there is a party for free market capitalism and transgenderism and liberalism. That's called the Libertarian Party. Why don't you join them? We do not need you. You are doing nothing but hurting us. You are hurting the Christian vote by creating a platform for yourself saying, this is Trumpism. This is Trumpism. You know, we should have never glorified this in the first place.
You're hurting the Christian vote. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make Christians sound so triggered and snowflakey? Oh, I can't vote for Trump because somebody who was gay liked Trump. Could you imagine?
While we are losing everything on social issues, we lose every single time. You know, we are influencing. You know,
maybe you lose every single time on social issues because you're just fucking wrong. She would probably be against desegregation if she were if she existed back in that time as well. Like, the reason you always lose is because you're just wrong. You're trying to exclude trans people, and there's way too much evidence to the contrary in supporting the validity of trans people because you don't want to offend the Christians. Like, you're being a little wimpy beta, little soy girl over here.
Public opinion matters, and we are influencing our own elected officials to not take a stand on issues such as transgenderism, LGBTQ education, drag queen story hour. They are saying nothing. We have created a cowardly elected class within our party, you know, so it is not helping us. There is absolutely no electoral benefit. There's no social benefit, you know, and if you, like I said, if you are a gunslinging, freedom-loving person, absolutely, we'd love to have you come vote for us. But should you be having a say in influencing the party? Should you have an opinion that, you know, like Jared Kushner was the one who did push the LGBTQ agenda, mass migration. And those were the things that, you know, mass migration was something that Trump addressed in 2016.
What does mass migration have to do with LGBT? Am I missing something here?
That's what got the white working class out to vote for him. You know, so there are plenty of votes out there for us to get, but it doesn't come with compromising. We don't get those 15 million unregistered Christian voters to get them registered to vote and out to vote for us by glorifying the LGBT community.
Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. I don't know why Lauren's so against the First Amendment. I think the First Amendment's pretty great. I also think the Second Amendment's pretty great too, because it protects the first. And these are the things that we should actually be conserving, and we can't do that if we can't win elections. The fact of the matter is, Lauren, that every single problem you have with the LGBT movement right now, from giving hormones to kids, medical transition, whatever, this was all caused by the right losing the culture war 30 years ago when they tried to legislate their religion. That is why we currently experiencing pretty great too, because it protects the first. And these are the right now, from giving hormones to kids, medical transition, whatever. This was all caused by the right losing the culture war 30 years ago when they tried to legislate their religion. That is why we're currently experiencing this today. The only way to come back and conserve whatever it is you want to conserve is by winning elections. And the fact of the matter is, it's not just people like Blaire who vote based on LGBT issues. I am straight as an arrow. I'm married to a dude. Between the two of us, I'm the one that's actually married with the family. And so I will say that I absolutely will not vote for a party that treats LGBT people like they are subhuman. I won't do it. Part of the reason that Trump won my vote is because he does not
get him,
care.
Carlin. Get him.
People. He doesn't promote sexualities.
Carlin's going hard right here.
Okay, so first of all, you're using issues again on me that you don't apply for yourself. So Dr. Carl here was the first one to celebrate me being banned from Twitter. She was so excited to see that my voice had been silenced. So freedom of speech for thee, but not for me. Absolutely. So, disregard.
Oh, here we go with the freedom of speech thing. Part of me kind of wants to talk to this girl. I just, oh my.
That opinion.
Oh, God.
Well, I celebrated that you were banned on Twitter because you repeatedly tweeted that my husband should be deported, Lauren. And
he's
now
an illegal
I'm
alien.
thrilled. No, he's
Your
not.
husband
That's true, by the way. This girl apparently tried to get her husband deported like twice or something.
I am now thrilled that I don't have to hear you call for my husband to be deported on Twitter, who has had a permanent green card for the last 6 years.
He came into our country illegally. He broke our laws. He did not do it.
And then married an American. How lucky is he?
Go back. He has to go back. I'm sorry,
no, he doesn't, honey. That's not how laws work. It's not how laws work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I have a husband and you don't, Lauren. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't really add much commentary here. That's just fucking hilarious. Good job, Carlin. Nice job. All right, let's see. Simon, thank you for the €5. Euros? Is that £5? What about Leviticus 18:22? Not a Christian, by the way. Yeah, Leviticus 18:22, I've addressed that verse before. If you look at the original Greek, you'll see that it's actually talking about pedophilia. It's talking about men taking advantage of other people, like using their power to sexually seduce younger boys. It's not actually talking about, again, what we understand today as a loving homosexual relationship. Dilemma, thanks for the $5. Hunter, thanks for changing. I used to watch you to suppress my dysphoria. Once I accepted myself, I hated you. Now I love you. LOL, keep it up. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sorry I had that negative effect on you, but I'm glad that you're watching again. And I'm glad you like the content. Appreciate it. Sky needs sleep. Thanks for the $10. Get him, Hunter. LOL, legit. Keep being a free thinker. It's a lot better than your old vids. Love, a trans gay supporter. Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate the donation. All right.
You're welcome.
Anyone want to respond? You guys can keep going. Keep going. Blair's like,
Oh, you want me to keep going? Oh, well, I'm in early recovery. So, I've only been clean 3 years. Myself getting in toxic relationships is what kept, me relapsing. So, I'm just doing it with wisdom this time. I'm dating. But my intention is to get married and have children eventually, but I certainly will not be marrying an illegal alien to give him his green card. So,
Why can't you just admit that the Bible has some homophobic passages? Because, well, here's why. One, the Bible does have a lot of bad passages and passages that are really fucking, bad overall. But the reason I get into that is because I know people who are good people and who genuinely just think gay people are bad because they misinterpret their own Bible. And I want to talk about how those verses there, the Bible doesn't have to be homophobic.
Hopefully we'll find an American man.
that.
I will find an American man.
Lauren, you'll be pleased to know we had several interviews with ICE, and they blessed our marriage.
Really, even though he was illegal and didn't come the right way.
Permanent green card, honey. Permanent
Wow, we're gonna have to reinvestigate ICE.
Let's go to Blaire.
But you know what? Here's the thing though. Like we can
This
keep
is so
talking about my
stupid and
husband
petty. Oh
all
my
she wants to
God.
talk about it, but the fact of the matter is, my husband ain't gonna win us an election. Votes are going to win us elections. I don't know why we're so focused on these issues that are driving people away from voting for things like conserving the First Amendment, conserving the Second Amendment. That's really what I would like to have the
You
conversation
don't even
about.
like the First Amendment. You don't even like it. So why are you
say in the party so I think there's a little bit of it to go around. I think everyone should probably just respect each other a little bit more.
No, I didn't say you should be deplatformed from your voice. I was saying that you should not have a platform within a party who stands for traditional marriage, because that is just opposing itself. It makes.
Why is it one way or the other? What, like, you have your traditional life and Blaire can have her non-traditional life. I don't understand why. What's the problem here?
Makes no sense.
All right,
Also,
what do you think, guys? Have we seen enough? Because this is starting to get a little exhausting, and we have some other shit I want to go through too. All right, let's see. Let's go with this PragerU thing. So, I saw this PragerU video the other day. It's called A Father's Questions for Black Lives Matter. I really hate this video because the guy they feature is like this soft-spoken guy, and you can tell he's just like here to peddle like an anti-BLM thing for PragerU. Also, really love this right here. You can't have PragerU video. You literally cannot get the PragerU video without the grift. Donate to help PragerU fight censorship. They've raised $41,000 from their impressionable viewers who unironically believe that because, let's listen to what they say. YouTube currently lists over 200 PragerU videos under restricted mode, making it difficult for many young people to access our videos. See how they keep it so ambiguous? What that really means is some of their videos don't come up when YouTube is in a manual and optional restricted mode that's turned on in some schools and libraries. The Young Turks, they have more videos that are hidden in restricted mode than PragerU. If you look at my channel in restricted mode, none of my videos come up. This is not censorship. This has nothing to do with anything. But they're taking they just grifted 41K out of their fans. Can someone give me 41K, please, to help fight centrist censorship over my whole channel is now doesn't come up when you search my name with my last name spelled wrong. I'm clearly being censored. Help me. Money. Please, donations. I mean, at Prager, you can do it. All right, let's seriously, let's get into it.
I consider myself to be a typical Main Street American. One thing that is different
I hate your voice.
about me is that I have a big family.
Wow.
Not so common in America these days.
What?
I'm the proud father of 13 children.
Wow.
8 are white and 5, adopted, are black. My family is my greatest joy, and my life is dedicated to their well-being and happiness. I'm struggling right now.
What is with this ASMR shtick? Am I the only one who's annoyed by this guy's voice? What's your ASMR? His ASMR over here. I have a lot of people in my family, but Black Lives Matter wants to kill all white people.
Because I genuinely don't know how best to support my black children through this tumultuous and painful period in our history.
Well, the fact that you're on a PragerU video does not give me a lot of confidence in your abilities there, pal.
Say I should get involved with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yes.
While others say I should avoid it at all costs.
No, you
To help me
shouldn't do
figure
that.
this out, I have some questions for the Black Lives Matter Global Network.
Here we go.
Before asking, let me preface my questions with some background. In the summer of 2020, a peaceful BLM demonstration in my hometown of La Mesa, California, turned violent as protesters began rioting, looting, and setting fires.
Oh, no.
The next day, I took my 14-year-old black son downtown to help with the cleanup. As we walked past the charred remains of Chase Bank, I noticed the letters BLM graffitied onto a wall amid the rubble. It was unsettling, as if Black Lives Matter was claiming credit for the bank's destruction.
Okay, hold on. First and foremost, right here is really important.
Before asking, let me preface to help me figure this out, I have some questions for the Black Lives Matter Global Network.
The Black Lives Matter Global Network. I'm going to assume what he's talking about here is the overall movement, right? So I've kind of gone over how the movement is different from the organization, first and foremost. Second of all, is this, unironically, some random person spray painted BLM on some rubble? I walked past the charred remains of Chase Bank. Oh, God. And then I saw Black Lives Matter tattooed on the wall, and I just knew that BLM wanted all Chase Banks to be dead. Like, come on, man. Surely you recognize that a little bit of, like, rioting and looting is not definitive of, one, the global network that you put it as, and secondly, the underlying position. Like, I don't think the rioting and the looting is good. I think there are a lot of people that exploit Black Lives Matter and literally use the civil unrest to go be pieces of shit, looting and rioting. But what I also think is that criticizing the looting and the rioting is irrelevant. Like, they're already looting and rioting. They don't care if you criticize them. Instead, we need to fix the underlying issues. Why are people looting and rioting? Why is the civil unrest there in the first place that's allowing people to do that? That's going to really fix rioting. So when people like this dumb fuck, who I can already tell is a dumb fuck, I've already watched this whole video, so I can say that with confidence. He, the point of bringing this violence and the rioting and the scary charred remains of Chase Bank, it's a distraction. It's so that he doesn't have to think about the underlying issues or what BLM is actually about. It's so that instead he can just say, look, they burned something down and it was bad and scary, the end.
As if Black Lives Matter was claiming credit for the bank's destruction. I didn't want to believe that. Just as any parent who has adopted and biological children, I love them all the same.
Wow.
Obviously, I never want to see any of them wrongly accused, mistreated, or targeted because of their skin color.
Yet you're just up here getting paid. I wonder if, do they get paid by PragerU? I kind of want to know who this guy is.
One thing that is different.
Father and business owner, Dan Collins. Let's look him up really quickly. This doesn't look like him. I'm seeing a lot of PragerU stuff about him. I'm not really finding much about him. Okay, just kind of funny that he's like, I don't want to see anybody wrongly accused or them targeted for their race, but I just, don't support Black Lives Matter, which is literally trying to bring attention to underlying systemic problems and discrimination within our criminal justice system. But, it doesn't have to make sense.
Happily support any peaceful movement that helps to secure race. I would happily support all the same. Obviously, I never want to see any of them wrongly accused, mistreated, or targeted because of their skin color.
Signal.
I would happily support any peaceful movement that helps to secure racial justice and equality. I
think you can probably recognize that an overall movement, and especially a movement that you refer to as being global. I mean, it is, I wouldn't say, it was mainly in the US, right? So, but still like a huge civil rights movement. Surely you can recognize that there's going to be some violence there, which is unfortunate and bad, and I don't like that, and I don't support that, but that's just a component of it. It happened in the 60s as well. Nobody talks about there being rioting in the 60s because we all agree with the underlying position. We all agree that black people shouldn't be segregated from white people. We all agree with that, so we don't care or think about the rioting and the civil unrest and the looting. And you know what? For a long time, the looting stopped because the civil unrest stopped.
also recognize the need for law and order. No
Okay.
community can survive, let alone thrive, without that. This is the source of my conflict and confusion. Is it possible for my family to support the Black Lives Matter movement while also supporting the police?
Well, yes, I will admit that there are a lot of people that associate with BLM that probably have some pretty bad anti-cop rhetoric, but yeah, you can support the police. In fact, a lot of the reason that I support systemic change for the way our police system works is because I care about and support our police officers. A lot of the times, and a lot of the problems come from our police officers being overworked. We need to start taking some of those responsibilities and putting them on more qualified individuals and letting the police do what they're good at. Obviously, you know, there's more shit to it than that, of course, but like, I support systemic change also because I think that the police system, unfortunately, is oftentimes used for bad or disproportionately negatively affects Black people. But I think that there are a lot of good police officers in that system. So yeah, I think you can actually support Black Lives Matter and support the police, but you have to be willing to support changing the way the police system works. I would say that if you say, I don't want anything to change with the police, I like everything just the way they're doing it right now, then no, you probably wouldn't. Those views probably wouldn't be compatible with BLM.
I went to your website looking for answers.
All right, well, so far this is a huge contradiction now because he's going to the website after prefacing it. He said movement and called it the global network. So now he's going to the website. The organization that takes donations and everything else is like a specific organization. Just that. They organize some chapters here and there, but millions of people marched for BLM. All these people are not associated with blacklivesmatter.org LLC.
But I came away with more questions.
Oh, no.
You state that your mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes.
Okay.
But you don't explain how you're going to do that. What is your definition of white supremacy, of local power? By state, I assume you mean police. Who are the vigilantes you're referring to? And how do you propose to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities?
Do you think maybe you could have looked a little more on their website to find that out before running to PragerU?
Honestly, I can't tell whether you intend to pursue your mission through peaceful or violent methods. Until recently, your website also declared that you will disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. Does my family fit that description? Why would you want to disrupt my family structure?
Okay. This is so whiny sounding. God, I hate this guy's voice.
That language has been quietly removed. Does that mean that you no longer hold that view?
It hasn't really been quietly removed. They probably took it down because it was bad for PR. Let me get this up right here, okay? I'll explain this for you, my G. Here you go. Is it true, and this comes from Independent Women's Forum, is it true that Black Lives Matter wants to abolish the nuclear family? Selectively true, true only in context. The actual website said, we make our spaces family-friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the Now listen, I acknowledge that some of this is going to sound like some really woke liberal BS, okay? We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so that they can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. So yeah, what they're saying here, I'll admit, not very well, is just that, like, they're gonna disrupt the, well, they say Western prescribed, so they're talking about this idea that the nuclear family is what's best. Now, I would argue with this, because based on what I've seen, the nuclear family, two loving parents, straight or gay, seems to be the best environment for children, so I might not agree with this overall, but they're not talking about disrupting and getting rid of the nuclear family, and they hate the nuclear family and all that crap. They're saying they don't like the Western prescription that you have to be in a nuclear family structure. So there is a little bit of nuance there, also kind of poorly worded. That might be one of the reasons it was removed. So, yeah, no. I'm sure BLM doesn't have anything wrong with your family, my dude. Oh my God, with your whispery, whiny voice.
Or was it just the expedient thing to do? I reached out to my local chapter of Black Lives Matter, hoping to speak with someone who could help me sort all this out. I then contacted your regional and national headquarters. I got no response. So I began doing my own research. That led me to an interview on the internet with one of your founders, Patrisse Cullors.
Sure.
We are trained Marxists, she said. We are super versed on ideological theories. Which theories are those?
Oh, no.
Is Black Lives Matter a Marxist-inspired organization?
Okay. Get this up again here. Again, we're talking about the organization, dude. You know, you realize that even if the organization was literally a Marxist-inspired organization and the underlying goal would be the same, like the organization is just, it's a separate thing. But again, no, not really. This was from 2015 also. So look, hold on. Listen to this. PragerU has said this before too. When did this come out? Interesting how PragerU has already been peddling this thing that they're Marxist, guys. Doesn't that sound scary? Listen, you heard the word, right? Marxism. Yikes. It was developed by the 19th century. Yeah, Karl Marx. Yeah, everyone knows that. Recent Surface 2015 interview. The fact this is from 2015 also really makes me doubt his little story that he just did his own research and suddenly stumbled upon this 2015 interview with one of 3 Black Lives Matter co-founders, declared that she and another co-founder are trained Marxists. The movement has grown and broadened dramatically. That's true. That's kind of what I'm saying. Many Americans, few of whom would identify as Marxists, support Black Lives Matter, drawn to its message of anti-racism. Yeah, this obviously words it better than I did, kind of, but that's what I'm getting at right here. Hundreds of thousands to millions of Americans support BLM. That doesn't mean they're all Marxist. And also, they go into explaining what that really does mean. I will acknowledge that again, that's probably not the best wording to be using. And that doesn't mean I agree with everything the Black Lives Matter organization says. It just means that overall, I support the anti-racism message of Black Lives Matter movement. I know the organization is its own separate thing, but I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to find here. Okay. This explains what Okay. Yeah, these days Marxism usually means analyzing social change through an economic lens with the assumption that the rich and the poor should become more equal. But the movement has grown and broadened. Okay, yeah, so I missed this part. And yeah, I mean, I think what she was overall saying probably was referring to it as looking at it through this like Marxist lens. That's still pretty far left. That's still not something I would be in support of. This article also explains, it's funny too how like he's up here on PragerU asking all these questions, right? He's just a guy that wants to know. He's just a guy that wants some answers, man. Could have read an article about it, like what I'm doing right now. It's important to recognize that movements evolve. Let's see. This doesn't mean every supporter is Marxist. Marxists often have Black Lives Matter's empathetic support for gender identity politics sets apart from historical Marxism, and the goals listed on its website do not appear to be expressly anti-capitalist, which would arguably be Marxist identifier. Yeah, the group's support is broad. this is what I mean, is trying to pin the overall movement and the global network, I'm going to keep on saying that because that's what this guy said, on the website. It's kind of bad faith. It's also really bad faith that he's posing this as like these just innocent little questions when, you know, damn well he already has his mind made up on this issue.
Marx advocated for the forcible overthrow of our civilization. Is that what BLM wants also?
No.
I have a few more questions.
Okay, great. Well, let's answer this one first. No, Black Lives doesn't want to forcibly overthrow the world or whatever.
A few more questions. As an organization, do you believe in and support the Constitution? Do you honor the flag, or do you view it as a symbol of oppression?
Why does that matter?
Do you believe that people should be primarily judged by the content of their character or the color of their skin?
Oh, there we go. Brownie points for PragerU. The one MLK quote. Hey, it's funny this guy's so scared of Marxism and then quotes MLK when MLK was literally a socialist. That's some irony right there. Come on. Are we really going to do this right now? King believed that a multiracial working class movement was required to overcome the failings of capitalism. This arguably... Now, I don't know enough about Marxism to say that that sounds like Marxism, to be completely honest. But yeah, like, MLK was a socialist. So the fact that this guy is like using the fact that BLM at one point said something about Marxism as this scary fear tactic thing, and now he's over here quoting the one MLK quote that conservatives know. This is so disingenuous and slimy.
Do you support or condemn destruction of personal and private property of others?
Condemn.
Do you believe in the defacing and destruction of statues, monuments, and other public property?
Some, yeah. If they're statues of racist bigots that fought for slavery, then yes.
Do you believe that police departments...
Sorry, I go by PragerU's logic that only winners deserve trophies.
...need to be reformed?
Yes.
Or to be defunded?
Both.
Or to be eliminated altogether?
Yes.
I am one of countless...
Kidding. But the police does need to have its funds reallocated and put to overall better causes.
I am one of countless...
And to be put to better training for our officers and changing the system overall. So no, the police should not be eliminated.
Americans who want answers, but I can't seem to get any.
Have you heard of Google?
Reports you've raised millions of dollars in support of your organization. What are you doing with that money? Are you using that money in some way to help Black communities?
I agree that some of this is bad too. I was hearing some problems too about the organization making a lot of money. And then there were some local chapters, I think, that said they didn't really see results from that. Or, I mean, like, no one's saying the Black Lives Matter organization, Black Lives Matter LLC is without fault. No one's saying this. We're just saying that they support the overall movement of being anti-racist and systemic change.
No one seems to know. I humbly propose that you use some of that money to help Black people who have been harmed by the destruction that has accompanied BLM protests.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking of the many Black business owners whose shops were destroyed by riots in your name.
Oh.
I'm thinking of the family of David Dorn, the Black retired police captain who was shot and killed while trying to protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I wonder what this guy thinks about George Floyd. I don't know about this David Dorn guy. I mean, have you looked at his past? You know, I've heard this guy was no angel, man. So I don't know. I think that at one point, actually, David Dorn did get a speeding ticket. So, yeah, he probably kind of was asking for it, right? Hey, I think maybe he was on fentanyl. I don't know, man.
Protect a friend's pawn shop from looters.
I mean, you'd have to be on some kind of kooky drugs to go and literally risk your fucking life to protect someone's pawn shop.
With all my heart, I believe that Black Lives Matter. I would like to support Black Lives Matter, the organization, in an effort to support my Black children.
You don't have to support the... Notice how he's completely shifted. First it was the global movement, then it was the global network, then it was the movement, now it's the organization. You don't need to support the organization. I don't support the organization fully. There are plenty of things the organization has said and done that I don't agree with. You can agree with the overall Black Lives Matter movement and sentiment, though. You don't need to... Look at this. How do I support... I would like to support Black Lives Matter, the organization, in an effort to support my black children. What? You don't have to support an organization to support your own black children. You could try and understand the nuances of systemic problems, maybe, but
it's hard to do so if I don't know your beliefs and goals.
I don't know. You seem like you have your mind pretty made up about what you think their beliefs and goals are, buddy.
Speaking as a father and as a typical American, I look forward to your answers. I'm Dan Collins for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
Oh, here, and then there it is. Please donate, guys. Does he say something about censorship? Oh, nope, that's the end of it. Okay, too bad. I was hoping for something about how over 9 million PragerU videos are getting censored because they got one less like than last year.
La Mesa, California.
All right, well, I hope we were able to answer some of those questions. Some of them were just needed to be laughed at, though. We have a few more donations here. Lucas Hofsis, thank you for the $5. I'm sending you this money specifically to tell you to get chat mod. Seriously, the chat is a mess. Be nice to my chat. Jennifer, thank you for the $5. Hey, Hunter, like someone stated before, I used to watch you to suppress my bisexuality and feed my anorexia. I'm glad you changed, and I love you to bits. Well, again, I am very sorry that I contributed to that at that point in your life, but I'm glad that you like my content now. All right, let's see here. So some stuff moving forward. Some stuff is moving forward with the George Floyd case. A judge has just reinstated the third-degree murder charge against Derek Chauvin. So that's good. Chauvin already faced charges of second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter. The added charge provides prosecutors a third potential pathway to conviction in the closely watched case. So, not a lot to say there. What the charges mean. Third-degree murder, sometimes known as depraved mind or depraved heart murder, generally applies to a case in which a person does something eminently dangerous to others without regard for human life, such as randomly firing into a crowd or driving on the wrong side of the road. I think this is a pretty fair charge, to be completely honest. The second-degree murder charge alleges that Chauvin unintentionally caused Floyd's death while committing third-degree assault. If convicted, Chauvin could face up to 40 years in prison for second-degree murder, up to 25 years for third-degree murder, and up to 10 years for second-degree manslaughter. Good. Please, for the love of God, lock this guy up. Cops, literally, have you looked at the statistics? Cops never, well, I don't want to be too hyperbolic here. Cops virtually never face consequences for killing people. Sometimes it's justified, sure. But in the George Floyd case, not at all. So this is good news. I'm glad. I'm glad about this. So yeah, we wrap it up, I guess, on a high note. That's pretty nice, right? Well, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everyone for tuning in to today's stream. And thank you to everybody who donated. I can check here. I don't think, yeah. Let's see, hold on. And thank you to everybody that tuned in on Twitch. You are amazing. How many people are watching right now on Twitch? Hold on. I'm trying to find out. What? 0 viewers? Really? Guys. I'm just kidding. All right, guys. No, it's not 0. I'm just kidding. But all right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh no, Hunter's leaving. I know. My streams are so much fun, aren't they, guys? Do you think I should stream more often? What do you think? This was a Pogger stream. Don't worry, I'll be posting some highlights of the stream probably on Saturday.